So, my wonderful friends, I thought I'd get creative this week and do a video that is different, okay? Some of you know that I am an artist, and my chosen medium at this point in my artistic life is art journaling. Art journaling. Art journaling. Art journaling. And, that means I work inside a journal and I create art within a journal. So this is one whole piece of art. So that's an art journal. Comes in many shapes, sizes, styles. This just happens to be my style at the moment. But I'm also a digital artist. And so since 2018, I have been creating digital images to, pretty much for me, they've been to make oracle cards, not for any other big purpose. So in 2018, I made my first deck with a challenge from Over the Moon Academy on Instagram. And, I've been crazy about making oracle decks ever since. And I'm going to actually show you all the decks that I've printed out here in just a minute. The oracle cards that I have created have been truly more of a inner work, transformative exercise. The reason I'm bringing all of this up is because just in the last few days, I have begun a new deck of cards, and they are a fun combination. I have taken my dream arc animals and I have combined them with the idea of a fairy tale. And I have put the two together and used a digital app to then create these cards. And so that's the whole reason I wanted to do this video, is to introduce those cards to you because they were so fun. But then I thought, why not let you know about another way that you can do inner work? Let me just give you one example. In this particular deck, it's an astrological reading that I got from this woman, Benabel Wen, and it's about some of the more hidden aspects of one's astrological chart. One of the guardian spirits is a sacred outcast. How do you make a sacred outcast? And what is a sacred outcast? I don't know, can you tell? She's got an angel's wings, but clearly she's sitting alone. So there I was expressing a couple of words in an image can be so helpful in really grounding down that concept into your being, right? So let me show you the decks and give you a little bit of history and show you as the styles changed, and even as my own abilities changed in, bringing a concept into with an image. This would have been my last deck. The other decks are a little less sophisticated. And so you're also seeing this journey of development since 2018. Welcome to all the decks that I've created and actually had then printed by a commercial printer. This deck was my first deck that I created. These are all, I was playing with digital art for the first time, and I created these cards. And then the next deck I did, I believe, is the Human Design deck. And what I was using cards as a way of trying to learn my own chart. So here's the Open Ajna Center. And, I don't care. And the antidote for the problems from the Open Ajna Center. The Tribal Circuit Group. Open Root Center. Then each of the keys, power skills, you know, with the lines that were there. Defined throat center. And as you can see now I have 2 defined throat centers. I have a prayer, and then I have the actual meanings of the defined throat center and all of the gates that I have in the throat center, right, with their meanings. Written very small. And then I have a prayer. So these were very, very important, creating these for learning. Here's my mandala. For learning my own human design chart. Yeah. So that then the next one was a 100-day project, which I got into through Instagram. And there are 2 parts of this deck. These are the fairy crone mothers. Get back up again. I think I'll go through these for you in a minute. So I have the fairy crone mothers giving a message. Then I have a deck of animals that were also part of this same project. As you can see, it's the same style. So, yeah, and each of them have a message. But it was before I got into the dream arc. So these are my own meanings of the animals through some research. And then this was another 100-day project. I think it was a few years later. And it is another learning tool. I got a reading, a astrological reading by Benabel Wen, and it was about some little known parts of the chart, and it really hit home. And I made a deck of basically my influences, which end up being archetypal influences. And yeah, so that again is another learning deck that I did. Okay, so those are the decks. I also have created some cards of my own for the dream arc. So, for instance, this style was the first time I went through the dream arc. This was the style I used to do the animals. And I have those in a number of places. But I haven't created a deck. These are all printed on my printer. And then I got a new iPad and changed the style of my cards for this time around the dream arc. And here they are. Let's find one here. There. So I changed the style a little bit, but with all the same information. Yeah, so I again have not printed this out as a deck. This is all just in my journal. I wanted to show you this deck real quick. This was the children's deck. I was doing a deck for my inner child. Find your light, allow healthy change, form order. I've got a little spider web there. I put little wings on all of these children. You know, share your creativity. And then this is another deck I wanted to show you. This was important to me. I was learning from a couple of different teachers about qualities that were needed to be a wise woman, to be a fairy crone mother. And so I took free images and then created them, adding wings to each one. Sometimes you just have to put on your big girl clothes. You know, I started to develop a little more elegant style than this first style, where I took a photograph and then manipulated it somewhat in a couple of different digital apps to create these. Believe in your intrinsic worth. Keep learning. Yeah, so, and of course I had 100 days to fill, so there may be, you know, some repeats of ideas here, but I love this one. Allow perturbation. Yes, that's where we get our growth. Yeah, so this was this deck. And as I said, there was a component of animals. So honor group nourishment and connectivity was a quail. Ground your spiritual energies. Use your voice uniquely as a crane. Yeah, so I just had a great fun adding these to those 100 days of the Fairy Crone Mother's wisdom cards in the same visual style. So this last deck here are archetypal representations of astrological influences, and I find them fascinating and interesting, and at one point would have loved to try to make it work with my Gene Keys chart, but they're two different sets of teachings, and I just gave that up. However, every once in a while I look at it and I go, oh yeah, I totally see that. If you notice, I have changed my style somewhat from more of illustrative style to a little bit more of a watercolor background here. And this ended up being a pretty good deck for an actual oracle deck. It was this was a great experience, once again, trying to learn what she was telling me in this reading by making it visual. And choosing the very small amount of words to, and, you know, fitting them with the right image. I remember for this wounded healer, I had a hard time figuring out what image might be the best image for it. Whereas the sage, man, I saw that image and I went, hell yes. Anyway, this is a beautiful deck that, oh, and then I did a whole series in this that didn't have to do with the reading, but were my various forms of my child. So I had a very silent child. At one point in my childhood, I got very, very quiet and wouldn't talk. My silent child, nature child. It's funny, there's a lizard there. That's the fear key in my own life's work. Good little girl. I ended up being such a good little student. I was such a good performer. Bossy girl. Just ask my brothers. Empathic child. Hero child. I was the oldest. Creative child. Yeah. That was probably more information than you needed, but I thought you might be interested in seeing how you can how I have used various visual clues, visual projects in order to learn and to imbibe and to take into my body these teachings, these discoveries about myself. Oh my goodness, that's a perfect place to stop this video. I was editing this video earlier today and I recognized that it really came in two parts and it was a little long for one episode. So I'm going to just stop this video here and begin again tomorrow with the next part of this video.